Good afternoon. It is 4:43 p.m. on Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got finished performing first aid on myself. This is 5 more minutes. So, yeah, I went into the office today and I was on my way into the parking garage and I tripped and fell on myself on the pavement. And it was like, I'm fine. It was embarrassing. It's like, nothing injured but my pride and my knee and my hands. My hands are not too bad. You probably can't even see like on the camera, but just like the heels are a little bit roughed up. My wrists are kind of sore, but my right knee has got a nice strawberry on it now, and I ruined the knee of the pants I was wearing. I mean, and it's not even like, I mean, I did trip on a thing, but it wasn't like it jumped out in front of me. I just wasn't paying attention. I cut a corner too soon, and yeah. So that was annoying. It's funny how one of the things you don't realize, probably even through your 20s, is how much scarier just the idea of falling down becomes as you get older. And it's not like I'm some frail person who's just like, like, I mean, I'm gonna be fine. Mostly I want to sit on the couch right now and feel sorry for myself for a little bit, but like, I'm gonna be okay. But it was just one of those things where it just felt dumb, and it's like, ugh, blah. What are you gonna do? Well, what I'm gonna do is take some Advil, um, wash and dress my scraped up knee, and then sit on the couch and feel sorry for myself for a little bit. But first, I'm talking to you. Actually, that's not true. I did already do the part where I, put a bandage on my knee and took some ibuprofen. But I am talking to you, feeling sorry for myself before I'm going to go do it sitting on the couch. So, Mike and I, for Watching 100 Movies, are going to do a Tom Cruise series because whatever you think of him as a private individual, certainly I think the spectrum of opinions ranges from he's kind of just a weirdo to all the way to he is a figurehead for a dangerous religion. Like, all of that is fair to talk about, but we're mostly just focused on he is a fascinating individual to watch in movies, and so we're going to kind of cover his career a little bit. And we decided to not necessarily even just go for his best movies. So we're going to start with the 80s, and we're going to watch Cocktail and Rain Man, which kind of covers a spectrum, considering those both came out in the same year. One won Best Picture, and the other one did not. I actually watched Cocktail yesterday, and it's a fascinating little time capsule, but it's also just a total mess of a movie. Like, Tom Cruise still has that smile, and he is, very charming and compelling in that movie. And the movie has its moments, but boy, the story is just a mess. It just feels like they came up with the idea of the characters and then just kept sort of, well, let's just find out what happens next, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then maybe this happens, and the characters make no sense. They're not necessarily very, like, Tom Cruise's character is like the quintessential dummy who skates by on his good looks and charm. Like, yeah. Anyway. So we're going to talk more about that on Watching 100 Movies, which I think we're planning to record on Friday. Rain Man, I think, is one of those movies that is certainly a better movie, but also, I think that it probably hasn't aged super well in terms of its depiction of autism. But, I'm going to look into that a little bit just because I am not an expert in that field, but that's kind of my impression prior to rewatching. Well, we'll see. The other movie that I rewatched was Blade, and that's because the Unspooled podcast is doing it next. And boy, that movie rules. Oddly enough, I was correct in my remembrance that most of the movie's great and then it degenerates into some CGI nonsense towards the end. That's true. But oddly enough, I had one sort of mental image of the ending of that movie that was like the primary image in my brain of like when I thought of the ending is like, oh yeah, it's when it turns into this whole big like blood tornado thing. And then I watched the movie and that just doesn't actually happen. I mean, it's not far off, but the image in my head just did not happen that way. And I was wondering, that's weird. Where did that come from? Did it just come from sort of subtly re-editing my impression of the movie over and over the years? I don't know. But most of the movie is great. Blade is great. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And I'll talk to you again soon for 5 more minutes.